Good day. The bullet hell genre is one that I've only had a passing interest in, and that's mainly because while they are good for the most part, they're also kind of boring. Literally all you do is just go to the right or just go forward and shoot everything in sight. It just gets a little tiring after a while. Now, my favorite bullet hell games are mainly on the Neo Geo, but those will be reviewed at a later date, because the one we're going to take a look at today is on the Sega Genesis. Now, back in the day, I never owned a Sega Genesis or played on it that much, due to the fact that I was a PC gamer, and when I didn't have access to a PC, I was an SNES owner. That's not to say that back in the day I thought it was inferior. In fact, I thought the Sega Genesis was actually superior to the SNES in some ways, but that mainly just stemmed from lack of knowledge. Now, the one game for the Genesis that I really remember from the 90s was not Sonic the Hedgehog. Rather, it was Jurassic Park, surprisingly. It was really the only Genesis game that I played on a marginally regular basis, and it left quite an impression. Mainly because at the time I actually owned the SNES version, and both then and now the SNES version of Jurassic Park sucks. I rather like the Genesis, not more than the SNES, but I still find it to be a fun console to play on now and again. And so now, let's take a look at Fire Shark. The gameplay for Fire Shark is that of a top-down shooter. Now, in most games like this, you play as some sort of starfighter or spaceship. In this, you're a World War I era biplane that has access to energy-based weapons. Really? A 100 horsepower engine is powering this. I think not. Now, in theory, this plane is from Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's powered by some sort of crystallized form of the Chaos Gods. Seeing the devastation that just one of these planes caused, no wonder Robotnik wanted the Chaos Emeralds.
Hold on. Back up a second. What the hell did you just reference?
You know, Sonic Adventure, you know, you got the robots made of the furry animals, and the giant killer whales, you know, with, like, the giant cat who likes to fish. Ow. As the titular Fire Shark, you will have access to 3 power-ups, along with up to 10 bombs. You can also pick up speed power-ups here and there, and with them, you will actually be able to dodge many of the thousands of projectiles hurled at you. Now, your main weapon is a plasma shotgun bolted to the plane. It does very little damage and has a very small arc. Using this alone is basically suicide, but thankfully, it can be upgraded to a wider arc along with more damage. You then have the green power-up that has decent damage but 0 arc of fire, and is the most useless of all 3 power-ups. Now, the third and final power-up is the red fire beam of death. This is by far the most powerful and the most useful weapon in the game.
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Fully upgraded, you will have 6 flame beams of pure wind going at the same time, which goes a long way to getting through this game, because like all bullet hell shooters, Fire Shark has absolutely punishing difficulty. You take 1 hit and have 3 lives, and only very limited continues. Your reflexes have to be spot on. Otherwise, while you're dodging one projectile, you will fly head-on into another one. Now, in this game, you don't have to worry about the environment like rock walls and buildings. It's actually significantly more difficult. You see, in order to get power-ups, you have to shoot zeppelins, and in this game, you have to try to shoot everywhere at once, which means when you have the epic flame beams of the gods, you will always hit the zeppelins, which means you will have green and blue power-ups bouncing around the screen, ready to strip you of your flame beams. So now not only do you have to avoid all the projectiles, you also have to avoid the fuck-ups. Now, while I do have the card, I prefer to emulate it. Why? Because if I didn't, I wouldn't even get past the first bloody stage without losing all my lives and continues. This is a classic game that is made all the more fun because of save states. The graphics are pretty impressive for an early Genesis game. Everything has a high level of detail with a decent number of animations, and the plane itself looks nice with its spinning propeller. The colors are also bright and vibrant, and nothing is hard to see or murky. Quite possibly the most notable aspect of the game is the music. It is just amazing. It's hard rocking and something that can easily be rocked out to outside of the game. Overall, Fire Shark is a very well done top-down shooter that has stood the test of time. Also, the ending is just bizarre. I mean, what's with the sharks and then... Oh god, what is that? I guess those sharks kind of go with Fire Shark? Why do I feel so creeped out? Anyway, this is General Lotz, signing off.